Well, clearly Mexico is not happy about President Trump threatening to impose tariffs on Mexican exports. Nevertheless, Mexico has all along acknowledged there is a migrant problem. Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard was in town last week, in Washington last week, precisely presenting a development program for Central American countries to stop the flow of migrants through development, which is the way you keep them in their country. He came to Washington. I think Foreign Secretary Pompeo was not in town to meet with him, so I don't know how much headway he got, but he's flying into Washington again today to address this issue, which again Mexico has never denied is an issue, and we will work with the United States to solve it.
Is that so, Ambassador James Jones? You worked under the Clinton administration when NAFTA itself was instituted. Now we have the president pushing hard for his new NAFTA, and reports we heard from Kayla a moment ago about whether or not this will interfere with that progress. Do you think these tariffs could help Congress move forward on new NAFTA, or do you think it undermines that movement?
I think it undermines it considerably. It's another new policy that makes no sense, that has no coordination with the rest of our foreign policy or trade policy. The tariffs are the baby pacifier for Trump and for Miller and for that crowd that really don't have the information that's going on. Mexico has been working with our country, trying to work with our country for quite a while now to stop this flow of immigrants from the northern tier of countries in Central America. We don't even have an ambassador in Mexico to do the coordinating, and hopefully that'll be remedied before too long, but that's unheard of.
But what about the White House's claim, like, it says, look, Congress, the Democrats have done nothing on this issue. We're resorting to this. It may be his favorite weapon, as we've discussed, but we're resorting to this to change behavior, to change Mexico's behavior. No one else is stepping up, including Mexico, to do that.
Well, I think that, first of all, that's false. Mexico has been doing quite a bit to stop the flow, and they've had something like 150,000 or so interruptions at the Mexican border with Guatemala, and they've been trying to work with our government. This is not as particularly an issue for Congress. I mean, the overall immigration policy is an issue for Congress,
right?
And it's terrible that they haven't dealt with that.
Right.
But this is basically an issue of how do we stop this particular flow, not overall immigration, but this particular problem. And in that regard, I do believe that what Mexico and the United States had been working on, which is to have development money go to Central America to try to keep the people who are leaving there back at that particular location. And that has gone nowhere. And as a matter of fact, Trump has taken away all the aid that provides some of that assistance right now.
All right. Let me bring Michelle back in and also remind everybody that we're talking about a 5% tariff on the 10th of June.
Yes.
That goes to 10% on July 1, and then 15% and 20, and then 25%. I mean, we're talking about they have a matter of weeks, really, to avoid that happening.
It would be incredibly disruptive. I think it would be catastrophic for some industries, some importers, because the costs will be driven up so high. Whether or not they can get this done in the next few weeks, I'm not sure. There's two things that have to happen, right? The changes have to happen in Central America. The president cut off the money to Central America because they've been getting billions for years and nothing's happened, right? They were very frustrated. Something is about to happen in Latin America. El Salvador gets a new president tomorrow, a guy who actually believes in the markets. Since 2014, they have been led by a former leftist guerrilla. And you can see that the results of his policies have meant no growth, slow growth, etc. But that's one of the reasons why people leave. We need to see better policies in Central America.
No question. But those issues that have come up, the gang violence, the awful devastation, the poverty, of course, we don't blame anybody for trying to create a better life in the U.S. But even a change of administration like you're talking about is going to take some time.
Yes. So I'm not optimistic that there's going to be that much solved in a short period of time, unless when the foreign minister from Mexico comes, the president this morning said he was coming with data to show that they're working on it and it's getting better.